So, as you know, we have kicked off a Mile a Day May, and we've been talking a lot about walking, cardio, and staying active. But there's one key that unlocks strength, independence, and energy well into your 50s and 60s and beyond, and that's building muscle. So, let's get into it. Hey babes, or welcome back. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Dacia, and I help you take a mindful approach to wellness. If you've struggled with unhealthy habits, constantly starting over, or emotional eating, I help you understand why, as well as help you create habits, patterns, and mindset shifts to shape your well-being. If that sounds like something that you may need, let this be your soft place to land. Be sure to like and subscribe, and also comment down below and let me know what you would like to see more of. I would love to chat with you. Okay, so let's get into this video. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed walking into a gym, or even just unsure of where to start when it comes to strength training, this is for you. And if you ever wonder why building muscle even matters, especially as we age, this is for you too. Because baby, strength is for everybody. Strong is ageless. Me personally, I had to learn the difference between being what we call a cardio rat and strength training. When I was in college and undergrad with my first experience of losing my first 30 pounds, I was doing 2-a-days. And if you don't know what that means, that's going to the gym 2 different times a day. You might know it kind of like as 75 hard. They've named it that now, but decades ago, we called it the 2-a-days. um, but similar to that, I would go to the gym probably an hour or so, 45 minutes to an hour, 2 times a day. Mainly just doing cardio. One time I would go and get on the treadmill for 45 minutes to an hour. And then the other half of the day, I would go and get on the elliptical for 45 minutes. And yes, I lost a ton of weight super fast, but I looked like skin and bones. There was no muscle definition or anything, because sometimes when you're doing so much cardio, you're also burning off your muscle. I didn't learn much about strength training or that it was even necessary or its importance until I was well into my 20s. Probably it wasn't until I started doing travel nursing that I learned the importance of strength training. And if you understand that muscle is way more beneficial for your body and your composition than fat, so losing so much fat and burning off all your muscle is actually working against you. Once I did start strength training, I fell into the trap of seeing all of the people who were super toned and super muscular. And I was like, I want to look like that by next week. How I'm going to do that? And I know y'all know what I be talking about, because y'all, I be seeing these reels where it's like, I want to look like you do by Saturday. It's not going to work, honey. It's not going to work, okay? Usually building muscle and building definition and toning, if you see people with these super defined ripped abs and popping quads and bulging shoulders and super defined back, that takes years. That's not an overnight process. If you really understood the composition of the body and the musculature within the body, there are so many different muscles that can be worked by so many different movements that it takes time to hit all of those different muscles and learn all of those different movements and actually work them enough to define them. So again, it takes years. Losing weight and body composition is honestly a science. It's not something that you go into the gym on a Tuesday and come out looking like a bodybuilder on Sunday. It doesn't work like that. And honestly, sometimes when you see these people on social media and you see these before and afters, it's kind of like a highlight reel. It might be years between those two images or between those two videos. So it's important that you understand that this is going to take time and consistency. The most important thing in all of this, no matter if it's weight loss, body composition, strength training, muscle building, learning how to walk regularly, all of it is about consistency. Consistency is more important than any other piece of information that I will ever tell you. Also, as a person who has done a number of cleanses, even currently now, as well as when I was in college, You can't cleanse off weight. Usually that's just dropping water weight or reducing some of your inflammation. And if you go back to eating as you normally did or as you were before, it's going to come all right back. You have to give yourself time. None of this is overnight. You can watch 57 different videos and 28,000 different influencers or testimonials. They're all going to tell you the same thing: consistency, dedication, and time. So stop looking for the quick fix. It doesn't exist. So again, why does strength training even matter? Strength training isn't always about lifting heavy or looking toned. All right, I'm gonna chill. It's honestly a form of long-term self-care. Like, seriously. One that supports your metabolism, your balance, your bone health, and overall confidence. Some key benefits of strength training include increased bone density, joint stability, a faster metabolism, better posture and balance, injury prevention, and long-term independence, which is one of the most important things. And especially for women, building muscle helps protect against osteoporosis and frailty and supports a vibrant, energetic life. So in our last video, we talked about 5 movements kind of to get you started in addition to you walking a mile a day. And some of those movements I'm going to talk about again right now. So there are 5 movements that basically form the foundation of almost any strength training routine. And the most important part is that they mimic real life movement patterns. And mastering them can change the way that your body feels as well as functions. So like we talked about last week, the squat works your glutes, your quads, and your hamstrings, and they mimic the real life functions of sitting down and standing up. So as I mentioned last week, when you go to perform a squat, simply think about as if you're sitting down into a chair. The second one is the hinge or the deadlift movement. And I see a lot of people getting this wrong because they lead with their upper body when really it's a hip movement. This works your hamstrings, glutes, and lower back. And it mimics the real life motion of picking things up off of the floor. So think about just pushing your hips back and bending at your hip, hinging yourself, not driving your upper body down. So have you heard about people talk about push-pull days? This is the next 2 movements we're going to go over. So the push movement can consist of a push-up or like a press. So think basically if you're trying to put something above your head onto a high shelf, similar to that, or trying to push open a heavy door. This movement works your chest, your shoulders, and your triceps. Or the pull movement, such as my favorite being lat pull downs. We know I love me a back day. It works your back and your biceps, and it mimics the real life motion of pulling groceries. Like think about if you're unloading your trunk and you're reaching and pulling toward you, or trying to pull open a heavy door. This 5th and final movement is one that I feel like doesn't get mentioned a lot, and it's the carry. I am a one-trip girly, okay? You're going to see me carrying all my bags at once. And this is a very important movement. So it's also known as the farmer's carry or a weighted walk. It works your core, your grip strength, and it also tests your full body endurance. Grip strength is something that often weakens as you age. Think about trying to open a jar or carrying a bunch of groceries in your hands at once, or trying to pick up some luggage. All of this is considered a carry movement. Each of these 5 movements can be done with your actual body strength, or you can add a lighter weight if you feel like you're ready. So all of these movements may seem very simple to you now if you're younger, but what happens when you age? So strength is essential as we age because we actually begin losing muscle as early as the age of 30. This is called sarcopenia. If this goes unchecked or unaddressed, it leads to overall weakness, slower metabolism, a risk of falls and fractures, and honestly, less energy. But the great thing is you can slow or even reverse this process, and strength training is how. Having muscle supports your bones as well as your overall metabolism. When you lift weights or use your body as resistance, you're sending a signal to your bones to stay strong. This, in turn, helps reduce the risk of osteoporosis, hip fractures, and frailty. Do you see a theme here? So more muscle equals more strength and it helps with your bone density as well as better metabolism. So if you have more muscle, you burn more calories, even at rest. More muscle also helps with improved insulin sensitivity, a more balanced blood sugar, easier weight management, and higher energy levels. So those 5 basic movements that we mentioned earlier, they're a great place to start. You don't need to lift heavy to get results. I did not start deadlifting 200 and some pounds overnight. That took a lot of time, some years actually. I started with a simple 10 to 15 to 20 pound dumbbell and eventually progressed to where I am now. And you can do the same. So start with just using your body weight, doing these exercises with your body just alone. You can advance to resistance bands, and then from there, light dumbbells. And then if you feel like you're ready and you have some instruction or a trainer, you can advance to more of an Olympic weightlifting type of movement. Form is most important. Form will get you further than just trying to lift heavy. So in order to check your form, you can use a mirror. I love training in a mirror. You're able to kind of see what you're doing and making sure that you're getting the movement correct. You can also record yourself to spot imbalances. I don't just record myself so y'all can see it. I record that for me. And another major important tip, please focus on slow, controlled movements. It makes me cringe when I see people just like going hard and just slinging weights all fast and not really making that mind-muscle connection, because you're doing your body a huge disservice. Once you get comfortable with your form, the movement, and making that mind-muscle connection, then you can increase your weight gradually. You can add more repetitions or more sets, and you can begin to slow the tempo even more for more of a challenge. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is called progressive overload. I know we've been seeing that term all over socials, but that is progressive overload. And that's how you grow stronger over time. Another thing that I've seen that's become really popular is older adults getting more into strength training. I really love to see it, and it proves that it's never too late, and it can honestly add to your longevity. Because let's be honest, I don't know about you, but I want to be able to carry my own groceries at the age of 75. Just saying. I want to be able to get off the floor without any help, without the use of Life Alert. I want to travel. I want to hike and live my life on my own terms and not feel like somebody constantly has to check on me or help me to do things just because I'm aging. Strength training honestly makes all of this possible. And again, it's never too late. You can build strength and muscle well into your 70s and 80s. You just have to start and be consistent. Remember, this is not just about building a better body or looking snatched or looking good or preparing for summer. You're building a life that feels strong, capable, and free. And these 5 movements are definitely the beginning. 2 to 3 sessions a week, 15 to 20 minutes is enough to start changing your future. Remember, in the previous video, I challenged you to just 10 reps and 2 sets, body weight only. Very similar thing here. Which of these 5 movements do you personally feel confident in? Which of these 5 movements do you feel like you struggle in? I know a lot of people usually struggle with the squat. They usually are on their tippy toes, leaning forward, when honestly you're supposed to be pushing through your heels. But that's just a small tidbit. Let me know what you struggle with down below. Like I said last week, I still struggle with push-ups myself. I love a good press. I love a good lat pull down. But push-ups, I gotta work on those. So I hope this helps to get you started with strength training and understanding the foundational movements and how it applies to making sure you have a life of longevity. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe for more beginner-friendly strength training and wellness tips. Tag your journey this month with Holiday May. And stay tuned for my next video, which is going to talk about gym culture, which is something, as well as supplements that can support your strength, your recovery, and longevity. So, I'll see you in the next one, babes. And as always, you got this. Bye.